Manx Radio's Saturday Live Lounge with Christy de Haven.
Oh, it's nice to hear a bit of Happy Mondays, isn't it? Kinky Afro here on Manx Radio. I'm delighted to have studio guests. Honestly, it just makes the show better. And not only just studio guests. I mean, these guys have been on the scene already for some time in one of the most popular bands over here, and also are now supporting other musicians. Matty and Dylan, thank you for coming in from now Tunesmiths. But before we talk about Tunesmiths, Matty, just remind us about your previous history in the music scene on the Isle of Man.
Well, I think it was 4 years ago we were last on here together. Yeah,
no,
4 years
it
ago.
wasn't.
Yeah, it was for 2021, post-lockdown.
That makes me feel a bit queasy.
Under the name of Manavia, I'm sure you'll remember.
I can't believe it was that long ago.
I know.
Oh dear.
It's
is Manavia still going? No, not at all.
No, not anymore.
Oh.
But that was the first time we came on here.
Yeah.
Sort of dipped in and out of the music scene, I guess is the best way to say it, and probably just from my bedroom after that.
It just shows we were playing rock music. Now we're approaching 30. It's like slow acoustic songs. So.
We were just chatting in the background about the sort of music that you're both into, and all of them were very grown up. I have to say.
They are very mature now.
Very grown up. But I've got to say, Dylan, good shout. Townes Van Sant doesn't get mentioned very much. We were talking about Townes Van Sant, which, you know, that sort of era of stuff, and you know the background with the whole Flying Burrito Brothers and Graham Parsons and things like that. So, and then John Martin got a shout out. We're going to play some John Martin in a minute. But everyone we talked about, awesome songwriters, which is essentially what you're promoting now on the Isle of Man. So 100%. How did Tunesmiths come about, and what actually is it?
Well, so basically, we were playing open mics, both of us together, weren't we? Playing our own songs, and we kind of both wanted to make the step into, you know, gigging. And rather than people approaching us to play, we thought, why don't we put our own thing on? And, spoke to a few venues, and we thought we'd give the Working Men's Institute a shout, and they're absolutely brilliant. So, what we were aiming to do is kind of just, give people a platform to play the original music, with a respectful crowd is one of the main things. Mainly acoustic, because it's a good way to connect with the listeners, and respectful crowd has been brilliant.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it, Matty? Because respectful crowd is quite an important thing. Because, I mean, in Manavia, when you guys were out doing your thing with the other bands that you were with as well, I mean, you wanted noisy crowds, and you wanted them to be kind of really leaning in.
We've completely flipped the coin on that now.
Yeah.
So, we have everyone seated, which we think works really well, because the Institute have big round tables, candlelit. It's just really nice vibe is probably the best word.
Very romantic.
Yeah, romantic, yeah. So if you want to go on a date, come to Tunesmiths. That is it. It's just so everyone's quiet and actually takes in, because it does take a lot, especially if it's someone's, say, first gig, which we have had at Tunesmith. We've luckily had that privilege. It's a big thing for people to get up on stage and play their own stuff to people. Yeah. So it's nice to have people actually taking it in, up clapping, feedback. It's really, really good.
They have been as well, though. The crowd, we haven't had to police anything. Anyone talks and they get politely shushed by other people, but we can't fault the crowd. Absolutely brilliant.
And that's amazing, because I'm guessing you have a mix of ages as well there. So, you think maybe some of the kind of younger crowd who might have been the ones, throwing each other over heads and things at Manavia. You think they might be actually just kind of a bit excitable and maybe make noise, but everyone is pretty much adhering to that, are they? The quiet,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to ask people, that's it. People just respectful.
Other people in the crowd are actually, if it does get a little bit rowdy, the rest of the crowd's just sort of like, shh.
That's so good.
So we don't have to do it, so which is nice, because we were worried about that.
I can imagine. And the Institute works well for that as well, doesn't it? It's that kind of venue where I think it just sort of, you feel a bit respectful anyway when you go in, don't you?
They just love what they do there as well, so... Yeah,
really good sound system.
The sound is always
amazing.
Spot on.
Very reasonably priced too. So.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what? They have been doing an incredible job ever since they revamped that place, and it's a wonderful space. So big shout out to Laxey Institute. They do an excellent job over here. And as I said, you've had 2 gigs already. You've got another one coming up. We'll talk about that shortly. But each gig, I'm guessing, has had different artists play.
Yep.
And what sort of stuff has been played then? What sort of music have you been hearing?
So it's like we say, it's mainly acoustic, but we have had an array of sound already. So we've had 2 gigs. The first one, me and Dylan did a set each, just because we've set it up. We fancied doing the first ones. We've had from folky, what would you call
And then
How do you explain it?
Yeah, we've had lots of obviously folk and acoustic stuff, but people have been bringing their electric guitars and all their pedals on and stuff as well. So,
which can work so well in a really kind of when you've got lovely tone coming through.
Because we're not against full bands, but we want to keep it on a personal level.
Yeah,
it's not too complicated on the sound front there, so.
Well, we're going to hear each of you play something over the course of the next sort of like half hour, 40 minutes or so, which I'm really looking forward to. But we mentioned John Martin. I'm going to play a song now. You said as well, Dylan, that actually the guys at the Working Men's really like John Martin as well. How did you first hear about John Martin?
I don't know if I can really say it on the radio.
Oh, now I really want to know.
No, just obviously probably recommendations from friends, I guess. Yeah, but absolutely amazing fella. So,
incredible playing, just a really distinctive voice and beautiful songwriting. Well, it's always wonderful to play John Martin. So let's have his absolute classic. This is May You Never. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Do you know what, Dylan? I think we've peaked.
I think so,
No pressure to poor Matthew, who's about to play for us live in the studio.
After John Martin,
After John Martin. We were just saying, I mean, he's unmatchable, really. We had a lovely message in just now saying, I proposed to my wife with May You Never playing in the background. Great song. Thanks, Alex. It is a bit romantic, isn't it? And it's kind of leading up to Valentine's, so I think that's a good shout. And we were saying as well, you were aware as well of Danny Thompson on bass. Do you kind of look into the whole sort of like background of artists when you find them?
Sometimes you can get a bit lost on Wikipedia, can't you? But there's a documentary, it's actually called Johnny Too Bad, and the stories them pair have is absolutely brilliant. So that's kind of how I, got to learn about them, really. So
you really do immerse yourself in music, don't you?
I think so, yeah.
That's a really good song. Well, we're going to hear original music now from Matthew Burrows, who's part of this whole Tunesmith kind of setup that we're talking about today. But Dylan, I mean, one of the things about this whole Tunesmiths thing, as you're saying, is to give you both also a platform to play original music, but solo, which is sort of a new thing for you both, I guess. How has it been?
Good, actually. It's obviously quite daunting. I guess when you're with a band, you can kind of hide behind each other, can't you?
Yeah.
When it's just you up there, it's you v the world, isn't it?
It gives you a whole new appreciation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But it's also, it's kind of a bit more personal then, isn't it? So
yeah, and as we're saying, the whole thing about Tunesmiths as well is trying to ask the audience politely if they will be quiet. Yeah. But also, oh my goodness, that makes you even more feel like you're in the spotlight, doesn't it?
Yeah. You're not in the corner of a pub, like, you're up there.
You can't hide. Well, you're all right here, Matty, because, it's going to be a really chill little session here. So what song are you going to play for us? Just lean in and tell us what you're going to play.
So I'm going to play a tune I probably started writing 5 years ago, and it was one of them that disappeared, and then out of nowhere I thought, this chorus sounds good, and then put it all together. So it's called Tough Times.
Excellent. So Matthew Burrows live in the studio. Take it away.
Tough times don't last so long when you're always out of your mind. Tough times don't feel so bad when you're out on the lash with your friends. So take me away, I've had enough of this place, okay. Tough times don't feel so good, so you mask it away with your pain. Tough times feels like 1,000,001 things stood in your way. So turn me away and take the shame out of my head, okay. My fortune's gone away, my life's in disarray, 'cause it's the tough times inside your mind. You might find a better way. Tough times kick you when you're down and you feel you won't get up again. Tough times teach you a lesson, so you know not to play it the same. let's run away into the promised land. My fortune's gone away, my life's in disarray, 'cause it's the tough times inside your mind. You know you might find a better day. No, you might find a brighter way.
Yay!
Cheers.
Matty Burrows live in the studio. That was brilliant. We're going to hear something live from Dylan shortly, so don't go anywhere. First up, though, this is the new one from Metronomy with Polo and Pan. This is called Disco Nap. That is the new one from Polo and Pan with Metronomy. We love that. Disco Nap. I mean, great name for a song as well. So we are currently talking about Tunesmiths, which is a new initiative for people to showcase their songwriting talent, but in a safe space so that they can actually be heard. Nice, polite audience actually listening to what they're doing. And the two people behind it, Dylan and Matthew. Calling yourself Matthew for this one. It's not Matty, is it? It's Matthew.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's Matthew. So we're Matthew and Dylan are with us. We've just heard Matty playing live, and we're going to hear Dylan now. What are you going to play for us, Dylan?
So it's called Irish Sea, and it's the first lyrics I ever wrote, and it was about being young and wanting to get off the Isle of Man. But in the same way, it's quite patriotic. So, yeah, if you can all rise for my unofficial Manx national anthem.
We are adopting it immediately.
Yes, absolutely.
Dylan, Hannah, take it away.
It's the same old story, walking through this town. It's a different day, routines going around. Institutionalized and isolated, repeating minds and time that's wasted. Narrow thoughts, narrow minds. Win some, you lose some, one step at a time. Cast my memory back now, Lord, I'm finding it hard to breathe. Don't you know I got a trick up my sleeve? So much to see in so little time, but some they fear the changes if it's a crime. Gotta get out and see the world, and no emotional attachment makes it hard. But your home will always be on an island, center of the Irish Sea. I'm wasting away my precious time. My aching body screams out, you've been out of line. Wanna be myself again, honesty's my new best friend. I need a tightrope type of life. So much to see in so little time, and some they fear the changes if it's a crime. You gotta get out and see the world, and
No emotional attachment makes it hard, but your home will always be on an island, center of the eye, the Irish Sea. I think now's the time. Do I escape or lose my mind? I think now's the time. Do I escape or lose my mind? You gotta get out and see the world. No emotional attachment makes it hard, hard, hard. But your home will always be on an island, center of the eye, the Irish Sea.
The lovely blues chord at the end. Yes, Dylan, Hannah, that was awesome. I can see people standing and singing along to that
I
one.
hope so, yeah. Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that was awesome. Live music in the studio. We are chatting with Tunesmiths, and more from them after this, which is Yanis and the Your, Yanis from Foals solo project. This is Clementine. That is Yanis and the Your, and it is Yanis is it Philippakis? I mean, you'll probably know this, Matty, because you're a fan of Foals, aren't you?
Yes.
Is it Yanis Philippakis?
I wouldn't. I
can't remember.
I would not have a clue on how to pronounce that. I'm not going to lie.
But it's Yanis and the Your. Now, you probably didn't hear it because we were chatting in the background. Did you catch any of it at all?
Through these a little bit. I've heard one of their tracks before. I can't remember the name. But
Yeah.
it's like vocal-wise, it's standard Yanis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
And the reason we were chatting, because we were just talking off air there about Backdoor Slam and Davey Knowles, and you're both fans, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah,
To be
so
fair,
when you were
growing up
I was going to say, when you were coming up through, I suppose you would have kind of known of them. And
Yeah, when we were kids playing guitars, like,
Trying to think
you
other
gotta be into
bands,
them.
different
Oh,
breeds.
I love
Yeah,
that. Oh, and he's done so. I'm so pleased for Davey, honestly. He's a really thoroughly lovely guy and he's done so well. So I'm going to dig out some, I'll dig out Come Home and I'll play it for you a little bit later on because it is such an awesome
track,
tune. So we were talking to Dylan and Matty about Tunesmiths. You've had 2 gigs. Were they both sold out?
Yes.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah. So we sold out. There was a couple of tickets left on the door, but then on the door we sold out because word had got round on both,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
And
So
100 capacity, is it?
yeah, it's 100 capacity.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah, it's really, really, really good considering it was the first couple.
And
all
it's
we-
original music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And all we've done is to this point is just throw a couple of Instagram stories out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all our marketing
That's
skills at the minute.
amazing.
Got a few chairs out, but the rest is just the fans and the musicians.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And do you are some of them fans that have come with you through Manavia days, or are they kind of new people?
I would say more new.
Yeah.
There's people who would have watched Manavia who obviously come because they're our mates.
Yeah.
It's all the same characters of
yeah.
that scene 5 years ago.
Yeah,
All the same
yeah.
heads, yeah.
Just
All
all
just
looking a bit older.
Oh, yeah, so maybe they've grown up more as well, and that's
That's it.
what they want to
Maybe.
hear is acoustic music. So you've had your 2 sold out ones. You've got another one coming up, haven't you? So who's playing at this one, and when is it? Is it the Institute again?
It is, yeah. So
Yeah.
same venue, Working Men's Institute, and it's on Friday the 28th of March. We will have posters and everything getting shared soon. There'll be 3 acts. I know who's playing, but we don't know what name they're going to be using, so I won't mention their name until they've sorted that. But we've got Imi Quirk is going to be playing. It's going to be one of her first gigs. I don't know if it's a very first.
amazing.
Yeah, really, really good. So I think that's maybe a theme we want to try and keep going throughout. We were saying is having someone who's very
new to
new
it.
to open up, and it gives them a platform, and then maybe a couple more slightly more experienced people after them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How are
we're
you
good.
finding these artists then? How are you coming across them and getting them involved?
Just word of mouth.
Word of
really,
mouth,
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone knows everyone, don't
Yeah.
they? It's kind of...
We
Yeah.
were discussing recently maybe we'll jump onto a few more open mics and go go head hunting.
Yeah.
Talent scouting.
Because, like you said, it is difficult over here with the original scene. I mean, there's the likes of the Riffs open mic night. They do a really good job at Quids, and I think Alex Cowley does some open mic nights as well.
Did a couple of them, and
the
Gluey.
But as you say, it is quite
Richard
rare
Grant,
to get originals, and even at the open mic nights, quite often it's people doing covers. So to have a strictly originals night, I mean, it's a great thing for artists over here, and gives you a chance to sort of hear who's out there and who's doing what, doesn't it?
There's a lot of people just who probably still playing in their bedroom, waiting to be heard. What advice would you give to those new artists? You said you sort of bringing new artists on, because we did say it is quite scary, getting up there and doing your own stuff. It's sort of bearing your soul, isn't it, with everyone staring at you? That's it.
What sort of advice would you have them, Dylan? What would you say?
Well, I'd say if, just learn your own songs, obviously, get confident in yourself with them, and just, get yourself to open mics, because they're all great communities to be in. It's, there's no judgment, and when you're feeling ready, maybe make a step onto Tunesmiths and into the open world.
So they could just contact you and you'll have a listen, and you think if they're ready, then they can get up there and do it.
Absolutely, But
what about you, Matty? What advice would you have for someone who's starting out and is maybe a bit nervous?
Maybe a bit more on a lighter note is, if you're playing your own songs, no one's going to know you've made a mistake, so crack on. I hide behind that a lot.
I'm going to go back now and watch back your performance that you just gave and see if I can spot where you're bluffing it. Well, it's really good advice as well. And the other thing I would say, it's a really good community, isn't it? Everyone is so supportive over here.
Over here.
Yeah, so if you did get up, you are only going to feel the love at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yeah,
because people are great.
Anyone who gets up, deserves respect, because it's a hard thing to do.
It is. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming up and being here in the studio. And you never know, one of these artists might be the next ones that come up to the live lounge, and then they could do some, showcasing their original tunes. Are you going to record any of your solo stuff then? What's the plans?
Well, to be fair, actually, just on the next Tunesmiths gig, we've actually recently confirmed that we're going to have live sound recorded out of the desk, and we're going to have people with cameras bouncing around, and it's going to be good. So there'll be some good footage for the artists to take away to use for socials and stuff as well.
Such a good idea. This is turning into a huge production, isn't it?
Brick by brick, hopefully.
I'm loving it. What would be your kind of dream for this in like a year's time then, Dylan?
Well, we've always talked about going a bit bigger, haven't we? We like these quiet little gigs, but maybe having something during the day in the summer. But
outdoors.
Outdoors, yeah.
One thing I actually really like the idea of is eventually, if everyone who's played Tunesmiths recording one song and having a compilation album.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah,
that'd be so good.
We'll see.
Well, it's been wonderful finding out about it, and it's an excellent thing you're doing. So keep us posted on it. Matty, where do we go to find out more?
So at the moment, it's just Instagram. At the moment, we do need to get a Facebook page together. But it is just Tunesmiths IOM.
Yeah, I think it is. And we've shared it on our page as well, so you'll be able to find them there. So in the meantime, all the best. Date again, just tell us super quick, Dylan, what's the date of the next one again?
28th of March.
28th of March.
Friday.
Be there. It is going to be brilliant. Highly recommended. Thanks for coming in, guys. We'll get some Lauryn Hill on for you now.
Manx Radio Saturday Live Lounge with Christy de Haven.